Hmm. Okay. So I think we're live. I'm hoping that you all can hear. Yep. Yep. I think you all should be able to hear me. Okay. So this is my first live stream. And there may be some growing pains. Actually, I just went through it right now because my original plan was to stream from my cell phone, and I was supposed to use the microphone on my cell in order to stream. But it turns out that for some odd reason, I'm looking for the phone right now, there it is. For some odd reason, I got this weird message from YouTube saying that the live stream would only be ready in 24 hours time, which does not make much sense to me. So I just decided to migrate using my computer. So hopefully the sound quality is okay because I'm using the headphones here, and this should be good for you all to follow along with me, because I think that I'm going to manage to share my screen as well. Because I had a presentation using the TV, but we're going to have to flip on to plan B here. All right. So let's start off with the screen sharing. Let's see if I can do this. So this is growing pains, and just um, just some ground rules for those of you who may pop up. Just wanted to let you know that we want to make sure that we respect everyone. So let's be mindful of the comments that we're going to put up. Just put up comments that are productive for people, and make sure that we're respectful. So let's keep that in mind as we do this live stream. So you all know me already. For those of you who don't, Rick Jones, online coach for fitness. And seeing as this is my first live stream, I figured that it would be a great way for you all to get a chance to know me. And it would be an opportunity for you to ask me some questions. Because, first of all, you can see that I'm a real person, right? So, that being said, with everything online and everything that's posted, we're always not sure with who we're dealing with. So I've been training for 20 years now, and I started off when I was in high school. Actually, no, that's not true. When I ended high school, so when I started university, that's when I got my first gym membership. And at that point in time, well, I just fell in love with it. I thought that bodybuilding was great because it just adapted to my student schedule at the time, and I just carried on with it as I started working full time. I thought that it was great because basically I decided whenever I wanted to go and train, and I had control over anything and everything that I wanted to do in the gym. I could have opted to do team sports, but team sports usually you have to follow along with the schedule. So, for instance, for those of you who like to play soccer, I mean, most of those leagues, well, it's after work, so could be any time from dinner time on 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. So I didn't really want to go through that route. I wanted to stay active. So that's why I decided, well, I mean, the gym pretty much fits my schedule because I can go at any time, and there are gyms everywhere. So not limited in terms of proximity. And here I am today, 20 years later, and did tons of mistakes, but I was able to learn from all those mistakes. And throughout that learning process, it led me to having my physique, my self confidence, and with that, a healthy lifestyle. that I was able to sustain over the past few years. And what's great is that, and this is tying into what I wanted to talk about today, is some nutrition hacks, because this is what you all requested from me um, for this first live. I'm going to go ahead and try my best to find the screen sharing. You don't have access to this feature. You don't have access to this feature. Here it is. Okay, share screen. Okay, so let's put you into presentation mode, like so. All right, and now let us share the screen. So I want to share this one over here. All right. I'm getting used to this. It's going good. So today, let's talk about nutrition hacks for muscle gains. Don't even know if I should call it nutrition hacks, but I think it's important to have a strategy in place when it comes to nutrition. You're going to see that that's going to be one of the key factors in terms of gaining muscle. And some of you may be in the category, well, I have a few pounds to shed, but I also want to have an in-shape build. I want to be muscular. And some of you may be dealing it on the other side, so meaning super skinny, and you want to put on the muscle without getting fat, right? So two ways to go about it: either losing the weight and then, well, losing the weight while gaining the muscle at the same time, or as a matter of fact, you may want to just put on the muscle without gaining the fat. You have to be strategic about it. And this is where nutrition comes along. So this is what I'm going to talk to you all about today, is my experience in terms of what I've done to clean bulk and why I've decided to go that route, and what are the steps that I've taken to achieve that clean bulk. And what's great is that with this strategy, it is a long-term, lifelong strategy to maintain the look that you want. I remember when I started working out, this was back in 2000, around 2005 to 2007. Started working out in the gym, had no clue really what to do, but decided to hire a personal trainer. And although I did do that, the progress really didn't show as much because I still stayed super skinny. And I noticed that with my diet, I was eating things like ramen noodles, right? Or those soda biscuits, those unsalted biscuits with Nutella, right? And then I would have probably just like dinner, which my mom would prepare for us. So that being said, it wasn't great as a nutrition strategy to put on muscle. And when I actually took a look at what I was supposed to eat and in what proportions and how many meals I'm supposed to put it in a day based on the minimum caloric intake that I needed to fuel my body, as well as the macronutrients that I needed to fuel my muscles, that's when I really noticed a change. And the change wasn't something that was gradual, slow. Like the change, it happened like pretty quickly. And when I mean the change, I mean growing muscle to the point where I actually got stretch marks on my body. So, like, for instance, I got a stretch mark here on my chest, right in the front area here. And I think I did notice some stretch marks on the skin above the quads as well. So, with the pump, I guess, that's where I really, really gained the muscle size quickly. And that is something that was attributed to my nutrition. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first slide. So the nutrition strategy that I followed was establishing my first week baseline. So meaning that I needed to figure out how many calories that I was consuming on the regular during a week on a daily basis. When I started off, I had no idea how much was going into my body. I had no idea how much my body needed. I just did not know. So what I had to do is I had to make my own calculator. I had to make my own tool. And I ended up developing this Excel tool. I kept it pretty simple because I mean, I was a person who pretty much ate relatively the same things every day. And with this tool, well, I had just a list of the macronutrients. So how much proteins I was getting, how much fats, how much carbs I was getting. And with that, just for the first week, just captured and logged in everything that I ate. So that way I knew like what I was working at from the start. So that essentially draws out your baseline and well, drew out my baseline and it let me know, well, like what's my starting point in order to figure out like what I need to do to go to where I want to be, right? And it was important for me to do that because it's kind of like, say you want to go on vacation, you plan a vacation, but if you don't plan the departure point, like if you don't know what airport you're going to be flying out of, if you want to go to a sunshine destination, well, you're not going to be able to get there. Like you need to, like these are basics, right? You need to know where you're starting from in order to draw your pathway in terms of where you want to finish. So that's why it was important to draw out that baseline. So the baseline allowed me to figure out, well, okay, I needed this many calories. And one tool that you can use if you want to determine your baseline, it's a free online tool. It's on calculator.net, and it's called the calorie calculator. And basically, what you got to do is pretty simple. Just put in your age. So right now I'm 37. Put in your height and your current weight. So my height is 170 and my current weight is 71 kilograms. So at that point in time, you can also mention, you know, the amount of physical activity that you do on a weekly basis, and then you click on calculate. So the calculator is going to give you some results. For this one in particular, it tells you what you want to do if you want to lose weight. So over here, if you want to lose weight, so let's just say I want to. I like it better in pounds actually. Let's see if I can put this into pounds. Okay, let's go into unit. U.S. metrics. Yeah, 165 pounds. Let's put 5'7". Right. Okay. So let's go ahead and calculate it. Okay, so it's saying here that for me to maintain my current weight, I need to ensure to get around approximately 2,400 calories in a day. And I'm going to have to reduce my caloric intake if I wanted to lose weight. So if I want to lose half a pound a week, well, I would dock off approximately 200 calories. And if I wanted to lose 1 pound per week, well, then I would have to dock off roughly 500 calories, right? So these are for metrics for healthy weight loss. Extreme weight loss, you're docking off like 1,000 calories, which is pretty intense. I would say, I mean, consult it, like it says it here, consult a doctor if you want to lose more than 2 pounds per week, because this is really aggressive in terms of weight loss. But the fact of the matter here is you want to aim for 2 to 500 calories as a reduction. But if you want to gain weight, if you want to gain muscle mass without the fat, then I would advise just going the opposite way. So if you want to gain perhaps a half a pound to a pound per week, well, you're looking at 2 to 500 calories that you need to ingest on a daily basis above what your maintenance calorie amount is. So this tool is pretty neat because it's really easy to plug in your numbers, and it tells you exactly, you know, how much you need compared to your baseline. So your baseline is where you have to maintain your weight there, right? So your target is, if you want to gain the 1 pound more, 1 pound less on these numbers here. So seeing as that you have the baseline on what you should be consuming as a calorie intake versus your baseline of what you're actually eating, then you can modify what you're eating in order to achieve that target weight that you want, right? So the maintenance calculator gives you an idea of where you should be, but you also have to start off with what you're actually ingesting in your body. So I would say start off with what you're ingesting and then work your way from there with the 200 to 500. And that way you can start gaining that weight or losing that weight while um, while ensuring that, if you join it with your exercise, well, you're going to be gaining that muscle. So the second step is just optimize your macro split. So I would say try to hit 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram body weight, which is essentially, I think, around between zero point 0.7 to 1 pound, 1.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. It's kind of like if you divide it by two, like just around half of what you're seeing on the screen. So 2 grams is a lot, but I mean, if you can get at least 1.6, you'll be in good shape. Also, for the macro split, protein, carbs, fats, I had started off with 30% of what I was eating on the day in terms of calories came from my protein source. 20% came from fats, and 50% came from carbs. So it was important to me to always conserve carbs and fats in my diet because the carbs, I needed that for the energy. I needed that for the energy in the gym, and I also need that for the energy outside of the gym. And for the fats, well, the fats, it's important for um, regulating the hormones in your body, right? So hormones such as testosterone, right? Um, the cortisol, uh, the those hormones that have an impact on your muscle growth, well, they need to be regulated, but these are regulated by the fats that you get in your body as well as the lifestyle habits that you adopt, right? So things such as sleep, they have an impact, but you need to be getting in those fats to ensure that the hormone regulation in your body is optimal for muscle growth. So that's why I'm not about completely cutting out fats out of my diet. And I know that a lot of people are afraid of carbs, but you shouldn't be afraid of carbs. Like, you need the energy from the carbs, but make sure that the carbs come from whole food sources, right? So you want complex carbs. You want things like potatoes, sweet potatoes. You want pasta. You want rice, quinoa. Like, these are oats. Like, I don't know if I said oats already, but these are important sources of carbs that your body can digest slowly and it can derive its energy from. You can also you can also uh, you can also ingest simple carbs, and this will comes from like sugars from like fruits, or like honey. So that will give you like immediate energy, but that energy won't last on the long run. That will give you just like an energy sugar spike in your body, the glucose spike in your body, but it won't last throughout the day. Like, it's really the complex carbs that will get you to last during the day. And the protein is great because that, first of all, feeds your muscle. And second of all, that will keep you satiated for a longer period of time. So if you were to ingest simple or even complex carbs, like that won't, that you'll still feel hungry after a few minutes to a few hours. But if you really ingest protein, like the protein, like slow digesting protein, it will ensure that that will keep you satiated. It will keep you full for a longer period of time. So you will be less prone to snack. So that's something that I would highly recommend. On the screen here, you're looking at a breakdown in terms of the amount of grams. So if you were to break down for 2,500 calories, you're looking at a breakdown of 147 grams of protein, 246 grams of carbs, and 83 grams of fat. So optimizing your macro split will ensure that you're not going to gain fat, but you're going to manage the amount of fat that you're going to have on your body, but you're going to put on the muscle, and you're going to maintain a healthy balance in terms of the hormone regulations in your body. And then the last step is simply to reduce the caloric intake by 2 to 500 kilocalories, like I explained before, if you want to lose the weight. So you do that for that period of time that you want to apply the you want to apply the adjustment in terms of your daily caloric intake. So for instance, I want to lose 1 pound per week. Well, going from 2,500 to 2,000 calories. So I do that, and I ingest 2,000 calories on the regular daily. And then I'm going to start to see a decrease in my weight. And then once I see that the decrease starts stabilizing and the weight's maintaining, if I want to lose more, well, then at that point in time, you just apply another 500. So then I reduce it to 50, and then I maintain that, right? And the opposite stands. If you want to gain muscle mass, well, 1 pound to 2 pounds per week, well, increase to 2 to 500 on what your maintenance is, and then make that your new baseline. And then once you see that your weight stabilizes, if you're fine with what you're looking at, what you see, well, keep it as is. But if you, in fact, want to increase even more, well, that's when you're going to apply the same strategy again in terms of another increase of 2 to 500. And then you maintain that until you see that the weight stabilizes. And if you're okay with the look that you have, well, then you just maintain that. And that's all that you have to do. It's not all that complicated. So for the last 5 minutes, some hacks is plan your meals ahead of time. Like my breakfast is always planned ahead of time. I just keep it simple. I always have 2 packs of Greek yogurt, and I have oats with honey. I put in also some fruits. So I have it's like a berry mix with strawberries and blueberries, raspberries, which is really good. About 100 grams of that berry mix, and I also put in some honey. Did I say honey already? I probably said honey already. Put some honey, like just to give a bit of sweetness, and I also use oat milk. I put that in the fridge overnight, and the next morning, you pull that out of the fridge, and I just eat that as a meal. And I'm good to go with that. It's about 120 grams of oats that I eat, and that keeps me satiated until lunch. So if you plan your meals ahead, it just makes your life so much easier because you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about decision fatigue and, okay, what am I going to eat now? What am I going to prepare? Did I do my groceries to have the ingredients to make those meals? Like you don't have to deal with that, right? The other hack that I would suggest is keep at least 2 meals of the same regularly. So if you keep them the same, well, it just makes it a lot easier for you to calculate the baseline calories that you're ingesting and the macro split that you're looking to target. It just makes it so much easier to do. I'm not saying eat the same thing every day, every meal. That will get boring. But if you can keep at least 2 meals the same and then add the variety in your last meal, what I do is my breakfast and my lunch are usually the same things that I eat every single day, right? Maybe my lunch might vary, but it'll be like the same 2 or 3 meals. And then my dinner, that's when it varies to, I'm pretty loosey goosey on that one. So that way, like I have a general idea of the amount of calories that I'm getting, and I have a general amount of the amount of macros that I get, which makes things quite easier for me. Spread out your meals throughout the day, so that way you don't have a period where you're starving for a long time. It just makes it easier so that you don't end up snacking, right? That you're getting your sources from whole food sources, and you're getting your food from whole food sources, and you avoid binge eating or binge snacking, and that just makes it easier for you to hit your caloric targets and your macro split. Drink plenty of water. I drink roughly like 2 liters minimum of water per day, and that just helps me digest so much easier in order to ingest the next meals. Because being very skinny, like I have to eat more. I'm a hard gainer, and sometimes it gets tough, like getting in those meals, like getting in 2,500 calories, 2,700 calories daily, because I burn that calorie fast for my metabolism. Like it's hard to eat that amount of food. So with the water, like it just helps with digestion a lot to bring on the next meal so I can achieve those targets. And the last one is just keep it simple. So one meat source, you want one grain source, and you want one source of fruits and veggies in that plate. So that meat source should be like the size of your hand. Your grain source should be again like probably like a handful or two, depending on like what the proportions are. And your fruits and veggie sources, 2 handfuls. And that should be a good start to get the amount of a good start to get the proper proportions that you want. So I'm going to check to see if I have any questions online. Okay, so right, perfect. So, guys, thanks a lot. This was a learning experience on doing this live for the first time. I'm going to try to do more of these more regularly, so I can be able to interact with you all, and answer any questions that you may have. But yeah, I think that it's great that you are able to see that I'm a real person, and I think that it's great as well for us to be able to interact, because I want to build this community with you. I want to share the knowledge that I have, that I've gained over the course of the years, and I want you all to share with me things that helps you through your fitness journey. So those of you who are new to your fitness journey, well, this will be a great place for you to gain that knowledge. And those of you who already have experience, well, it will be a great platform for you to share that knowledge, that we can all grow from each other. Because I believe in being a lifelong lifelong learner. I love to learn new things every day. It just keeps my mind stimulated. And as you know, new technology come out, and people come out with new theories, new explanations. Uh, that for me, it's growth, and it's important for us to grow. But in order for us to grow, we have to learn, right? So thanks, guys, for joining in for this live, and I'm going to catch you on the next one.